Yeah, welcome to Phoenixx Love.
Phoenixx Love.
Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
We were first introduced to you and met you at the entrepreneur night or the entrepreneur event that Ivory had, or shout out to Ivory, put together at Prima D Studios. Make sure to go check out Prima D Studios in Amityville if you need your hair done. She does my dreads. We are here, but in that meeting of us that day, it was great to hear some of the topics and hear what it is that you do. So I just thought it was we'd have to get you, just chop it up and sit in front of the screen, just to learn, And I like to, and we, not only me, but we like to listen to our elders and to get knowledge you put onto something new. If you're living and you're not learning, what are you doing?
We're fans of the jewels. I love jewels. I'm really excited for you to come and you just drop as many jewels and then you just be on your way.
Well, I hope I don't disappoint. I'm really excited about the opportunity to be able to, as you say, drop some jewels and share some wisdom with millennials, with young people, because I spent pretty much most of my career working with young people, adolescents, children, as well as their families and their parents in the psychiatric mental health system. So that was probably about 10 plus years of working in psychiatric hospitals, of working in community centers, community mental health centers, as well as schools that provide services to children with special needs, chronic mental illness, as well as adults as a primary therapist and as a administrator for mental health. So I am, with all of that in my experience, I am a staunch mental health advocate, but I look at mental health from a holistic perspective.
I love it.
So because, again, I think it's important for us to understand as one whole being, one whole spirit being, one whole energy being, that we can't compartmentalize when it comes down to our wellness. We have to look at the mind, we have to look at the body, we have to look at the spirit, we have to look at the soul. All of that encompasses who we are as a person, as a human being, actually as a spirit being or an energy being, living out a human experience.
Do you want to elaborate on what it is that, in relation to spirituality,
Yes.
Can you elaborate on what is spirituality to you?
So spirituality to me is not religion, let me say that. Spirituality is a very individualized, personalized experience and connection that you have with divinity and with God. And it's not about the labels, it's not about what you call him or her.
It's that feeling.
It's the feeling.
I know about that feeling.
It's the feeling, it's the relationship, it's the experience. And for each person, that is very different and individualized. So it's sort of like what I talked about, that customized approach of meeting my clients when I was working with them, right? We're all very different. It's not a cookie cutter approach. It's not a factory type of thing. And I think sometimes, like everything in the world, we tend to commercialize or try to
pacify it,
or spit things out, kind of like put it, how you have like a factory and it's like one of those assembly lines. You can't do that. You cannot do that when it comes down to your spiritual experience, practices, and relationship with the divine creator. Okay, we have one creator. That much is clear. But you do have those that feel like, well, I don't call him God, or I don't call him this, or I don't believe in Jesus, I practice this, I practice African spirituality. They got all these different things. I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, and this and that. And I'm like, well, that's all fine and well, and you do what works for you, because I'm gonna do what works for me. And I think that's really what it should be about.
Yes, and I've always felt that.
Right.
And I've always felt that as a young kid, and that's when it came to religion, that's always was my confusion, where why can't we just agree to disagree? This is what helps me get up in the morning. This is what helps me going. This is my motivation. If it's Muslim, Christianity, Judaism, whatever. Right. That's how I always felt, and I don't think people have those conversations. It's okay to just have your motivation. If your motivation is not causing any harm to anybody or doing any obstruction, things like that. If it's getting you up and it's moving you and you living your life and you love it and have family.
And that's what's key. And it's in what's going to be the thing that have you on a path to greatness. when I look at mental health, I look at it from the perspective of every system, every area that we operate in, and that we have to interact with other human beings, because that's where the challenges come in.
Yes, I've definitely have learned that more and more, that it really is interacting with, people and different people just to get different perspectives, because as soon as you have a conversation with somebody, the expectation or the preconceived notion is gone, and you're able to live in the moment and find, what kind of person you're dealing with, or just seeing something that you're that you can learn from. I'm learning a lot just from striking up conversation with strangers. So I'm trying to do that more and more. Is just be able to speak and open my mind and converse, because you're going to find something just because you decide to open your mouth and not be timid to.
And not be afraid to have a conversation, because you never know what you're going to learn. You can learn something from anybody and everybody. I learn from children all the time. I think children are the most fascinating creatures on this earth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they see things through God's eyes.
And they're pure.
Because they're still pure. They haven't crossed overs, like I like to call it, where we get, kind of bogged down with all of the world's, ideology and convictions and conditioning.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's one thing I've learned is, I like to call it like we're all angels for each other. As much as we're individuals and as much as we have our own, aspiration to do things, we're also here for people. Because I've been in many situations where just because I did something or met somebody, I was able to help somebody else, and I was able to move somewhere else just because of a last encounter with just another person. And I just like connecting the dots with people.
Yes.
And I like helping people, and I'll make it short because it's a long story. But I met a woman one day, and she was old. It was late. I was at Penn Station going home, and I heard my name being called, and I looked, and there was a woman like waving at me. She didn't call my name, but just I guess the way the wind blew, I heard my name. And long story short, her knee went out or something, and I just helped her get to a point where she can sit, and she was crying, and she was just so thankful. But I realized that's what life is. Life is supposed to be stuff like that, where it was just willy-nilly, but and she was trying to give me money, but it wasn't even about money. It was, you're good. I make sure she was good. She was by herself, and she called me an angel, and it was like, damn, man, we all are angels for each other. It doesn't have to be just a spirit coming down in your dream or something, but just be able to lend that helping hand, or just be that person that can just facilitate for that little moment, because it could be helping somebody across the street with groceries, whatever the case may be. But I definitely believe that we're all here, for certain individuals who cross our paths and at the right time, you know what I mean?
I love that story. That was beautiful.
Yeah, that is.
That was beautiful. And let me just say something about that. That is, you heard her because you was in the right place. That was a divine appointment.
It was.
We all have them.
It was.
We all have them. And it's just that some of us are more attuned to it than others. And that's what I mean about that relationship and that connection with the divine. The more you're connected and the more you're attuned. And that comes through the practices that I teach, that I do for myself, that I do with my clients, the holistic practices, and really spending time with the divine creator.